Okay, I'm going to hit you. Skyler said in December, number 3, add more length, athleticism to the defense. Okay. They had some athletic guys, but they didn't have the length. Okay. Now, and when these guys got hurt, there was a clear lack of athleticism. Okay. And you cannot compete. I repeat, you cannot compete in the Big 12 unless you have some long, just athletic guys back there. So what did they do? Well, they get it. West Virginia, the coaching staff gets an absolute A+ for going out and getting bodies that are 6'3" to play cornerback. Damon Allen out of Stanford, and he played at Hutchinson Community College. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. Checks that block. Another 6'3" is Chams Daggy out of Atlanta. He played for Georgia State. The little guys are 6'1" and 6 foot, and Nick Taylor and Keyshawn Robinson. Rashawn Reynolds Jr., another 6'3" guy. So all these cats are long, athletic. Alex Ajobayo is another guy. He's 6'1". We had guys last year, they're 5'9", 5'10". Now I'm 5'11 and a half, barely. I'm no big dude. But when guys are smaller than me, I saw one of these guys last year that's on team. I'm not going to say who it was. And I saw him at the what is it, at the Embassy Suites, or what is that, Hilton Garden. I was staying at the Hilton Garden in Morgantown for a week. And those guys were put up there. And I was very surprised at how diminutive in stature one of the defenders was. So I think I mentioned it last year, but I don't want to bring it up again because I'm not going to speak poorly. The kid played all right, but just physically, he got owned in a couple games. Now, do you think, Eric, they spent wisely in the portal? I don't know. I can't rate this.
I don't know that I can say, speak to, did they purchase wisely? Um, we don't know what the contracts say.
And we don't know how you don't know until after the season. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like an investment. You don't know. You didn't know that Google's going to be worth what it is, or Tesla. I mean, you don't know until after you've made your money. After West Virginia wins some damn games, we'll know.
You'll never know that because it's potential versus performance. But on paper and at this point of the year, I think they did really well because our number one need, which I think was obvious, offensive line. I think we have bolstered that in numerous ways. You mentioned getting lengthier on defense. Definitely did that in our secondary, which is where it was needed. Um, was there anything else?
No, there's one other thing that was mentioned in the article. It was the last thing,
Hmm.
and I think getting Coach Trickett makes us check the block. Now, spending wisely on all other things, on fix the offensive line, A+.
Hmm.
Quarterback, I would say B. Add length and athleticism, a B. Spend wisely, to be determined. But based off of last year, I think they have not a very good grade. Now, internal development, I think with Coach Trickett and the fact that Scotty Fox stayed, you had a couple guys on offense that stayed. Uh, you know, who's that? Ben Cutter stayed, right? He's been here 4 years. He's a unicorn. I mean, he's literally been in Morgantown for a long time. So,
Uh, I actually think we did a little bit better. I would have graded a little higher on all of those. But yeah, I mean, I think we did good in this offseason. You can name other names for quarterback. I think Michael Hawkins is a great pickup for us. I did
right.
see that Locked On episode, and those ratings, I don't even care about them because folks have always misjudged and underestimated player recruitment on Rich's teams, and I think a lot of that is because Rich's schemes, they aren't always as obvious, and that's why people tend to refer to him as a guru. So, at the beginning of the seasons, maybe not so much, but by the end of the season, people seem to get on board.
Now, I agree. You know what? This has been a good episode because we've agreed on everything. uh, Eric, let me go to the chat real quick before I go into
Yeah.
the last segment here and close this out. Uh, you know, Afton, Jared, thanks for popping in. Now, we did a show a couple weeks ago when Vegas came out with their 5.5 over
Mm-hmm.
under for West Virginia wins. And I was like, man, that doesn't seem right. I used actually AI to forecast what West Virginia's wins based off of this past season of recruiting and the trajectory, the trend. But I also went through all like what ESPN has for the Big 12. And I'm going to go over those teams before I talk about the timeline for West Virginia turning the corner. Who do you think has the best, has the most projected wins in the conference next year?
Texas Tech.
Absolutely 100% Texas Tech. And I think they're at 11.5 win total. That's crazy. That's just like saying they're going to run the table. I mean, that's
I
what they're
can see why
saying.
people would say that. Yeah.
Now, uh, they kind of have the money. They've recruited guys that were younger that have a couple years left, so they could develop them. I don't know if they have the recipe for success, but I think they're in the kitchen. I think they're sniffing it. They know what's up. Now the other teams, and I was surprised with Arizona has an over and under of 7.5 wins projected for 2026.
Hmm.
Now, Eric, they say Arizona's going to beat Northern Arizona, NIU. Okay, I can see those two wins. They have to go to Washington State. They're going to beat the Cougars, they say. They are going to beat Cincinnati and go to West Virginia. So they also say they're going to beat Iowa State, TCU, Utah, and Arizona State. I don't think they're going to beat TCU. And I don't think they're going to beat Arizona State. But I'm, I'm not ESPN. I'm not one of the talking heads. Now, the losses for Arizona: BYU, Texas Tech, and Kansas State. I think they're going to lose 5 games. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's a little optimistic for Arizona. No offense, all due respect. I think that's a little optimistic.
It's Brent Brennan's second season, for crying out loud. Come on now. Second season. They have road trips to BYU and Texas Tech. Those are 2 losses automatically. And
Yes.
then you have to play TCU, Arizona State, Kansas State, Iowa State, West Virginia at West Virginia. You're not going to win. You're not going to win all those. Okay? I'm sorry. But I'm not buying that. Now, speaking of Arizona, there's another school out there called Arizona State. Their over and under is 6.5 wins. Now, Eric, they start off with Morgan State, Kansas, Baylor, Hawaii, Kansas State, Colorado, and UCF and Oklahoma State. Those are supposed to be wins. So they have
Hmm.
Arizona State beating Kansas State, but they have Arizona losing to Kansas State. I don't understand the logic there. But they have them at 6.5 wins. I think they have a better chance of being good this year than Arizona.
I completely agree. So the agreeing continues, but yeah, it's much more likely to me that Arizona State hits
Yeah.
that 6.5 over under than Arizona.
I
I
I
mean,
think
and it's nothing against Arizona. I just like you said, I think I see more than 3 losses in Arizona schedule. So
I like Kenny Dillingham more than Brent Brennan. I think he's a better coach. Got Sam Levitt transferred out. Jordan Tyson went to the NFL. I think that's why the talking heads are like, oh, they're not going to be so good. But they got a kid from Kentucky by the name of Cutter Boley, and I think they're going to be better than what they're saying. Now, Eric, Baylor has not played very well the past few years. Been kind of but they have Prairie A&M win, Louisiana Tech win. I give them those. But Colorado, UCF, Iowa State, they say that they're going to beat them. I think 6.5. I think they're more the 5.5. You're going to have West Virginia 5.5. Baylor should be right with them. They have losses projected against Auburn, Arizona State, TCU, Kansas, BYU, Texas Tech, and Houston. I think this is the most accurate or close to the most accurate. If you're going to bet, go to FanDuel. I would definitely bet this Baylor one. Let's go to the next one, Eric. We got BYU. BYU is probably up there with Texas Tech. They are the top tier programs as we speak, 2026. If you're looking from the outside in and you're not a huge West Virginia fan, you're biased like Eric and I are. Now, their over and under is 8.5. Mm-hmm. They play Utah Tech, Arizona, Colorado State, TCU, Iowa State, UCF, Arizona State, Baylor, Kansas, Cincinnati. All those are projected to be wins. Now, Eric, I'm going to ask you this. They have Arizona as a win, but they have Utah as a loss and Notre Dame as a loss. I would switch the Utah and Arizona. I would have them beating Utah and losing to Arizona. What are your thoughts on that?
Losing to Arizona.
They have them losing to Arizona. They have them winning against Arizona and then losing to Utah.
So their matchup with Utah is always like our pick game.
Right.
You never be surprised. You know, you could have one team in the toilet and they would somehow find a way to put together, you know, perfect game. But being with the turnover from last season to this season, I can see the win over Arizona and the Utah matchup. Quite honestly, I see that being a win too.
Yeah, I think they're going to beat Utah. I mean, the Arizona game's 50-50, but I don't think they're going to. I think Utah is in not very good shape. They've lost everybody.
Yeah.
They lost their coach that's been there for 20 plus years. I don't know. That's a head scratcher. You know, last year, I think BYU was in the Big 12 championship game. But
yeah.
Now, let's talk about a team that is right at West Virginia's projected win total. So what the powers that be are telling you and me, Eric, is that UCF is right on par with West Virginia as far as how good they are. They have UCF. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I could see people saying that.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess I could too. At first, I was like, but they have playing Bethune Cookman, which is a small school, Georgia State, another small school, and they have beating Iowa State. Iowa State's going to be it's going to be sad for Iowa State this year with Coach Campbell leaving. But losses for UCF, Pittsburgh, TCU, Houston, Oklahoma State, BYU, Baylor, Kansas, Arizona State, Colorado. I think the Baylor and Colorado game, or maybe even Kansas, I think they're not going to lose all four of those. I pick one of those as a win. So definitely take 6 wins for those guys. You know, I don't know.
I agree with you. I don't see them losing that many games.
You know, another program with a coach in a second year. I think this is Scott Frost's second year, right?
Yes.
So that seems to be the trend in the Big 12. A lot of sophomore year coaches. Now, Cincinnati, right there with West Virginia at 5.5 wins. They're projected to have wins against Boston College, Western Carolina, Miami of Ohio, Kansas State, Colorado. Now, they're projected to lose against the Mountaineers, against Arizona, Texas Tech, Utah, Houston, Iowa State, BYU. Not so fast. I don't think Cincinnati loses to Iowa State. So that's
Yeah.
another one I would definitely take the over. This is seems to be a lot of teams just mucking up the middle. There's no clear delineation between the top guys and the bottom guys. It's anybody's ball game in the middle. Colorado, probably one of the lower rated teams in the Big 12. They're sitting at 4.5 wins. They have them projected to beat Weber State, Northwestern, Kansas State, and UCF. Guess who's going to Northwestern, Eric?
I believe that would be one Mr. Nico Marchiol. Sorry, Nico Marchiol.
Yeah, I think he's going to definitely get some time. I'd like to see him play. I think he's going to be a backup. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll definitely be watching some Big Ten just because I'm a fan of that kid. But Colorado's supposed to lose to Georgia Tech, which they were really good last year. Baylor, Texas Tech, Utah, Oklahoma State, Arizona State, Houston, Cincinnati. Oklahoma State's just a big question mark. I don't know what that program's going to look like next year. Houston, just sniffing in the top tier. Just under BYU, I think. 7.5 wins. Willie Fritz. He's like Kurt Cincinnati in my books. He is just a fantastic coach.
Mm-hmm.
Houston is supposed to beat Oregon State, the Beavers, Southern, Georgia Southern, UCF, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Cincinnati, Colorado, and Baylor. Now, Houston is projected to lose to Texas Tech, Utah, and who else? West, by God, Virginia is supposed to beat Texas or Houston. That is something.
That's an odd pick.
It is. That's why I'm doing this, because I was reading through this. I'm like, this is interesting. What is the logic there? Houston is like water and oil. I mean, and with West Virginia, it's just ever since Dana Holgerson just screwed the pooch with that one game. Houston just makes my skin crawl. Willie Fritz at the helm. Could they have a 10-win season? Maybe. I don't know. But 7.5 wins, that's something. They're supposed to beat Kansas State. I don't see them beating Kansas State. And then West Virginia, I think it's a 50-50 ball.
Now, see, I think last year's game at Houston, what were your thoughts at that game?
Oh, I mean, they went in there. Houston was number 22. West Virginia on paper didn't look like they had a snowball's chance in hell, and they looked fantastic. That was the best game for West Virginia all year. I think they played better even than they played against Pitt. So, can they turn it on?
Those were our two best games. So, like you and I said, I predicted that as a win for us, and maybe that's a recency bias, and maybe they're thinking it's a good coaching matchup there. That's the only reason I could explain that away.
Yeah, I think that was
definitely
an
Willie
anomaly.
Fritz. I agreed. Willie Fritz, great coach, and I think Houston has figured out that they're going to have to open up the purse strings a little bit more to get him some more talent if
Yeah.
they want a better result. But that's just curious as can be to me about the pundits picking WVU over Houston.
I agree, because I think, yes, West Virginia played well with less talent, with less. They just won with less. Now, Houston, not used to that success, being number 22, there was a dismal. It was. If I was a Houston fan, it would break my heart to look in the stands when my team is ranked and see empty seats. if I was playing, it would really bother me. So with that, I hopefully Houston gets their shit together. Fans, Houston Cougar fans, talking to you. Come on, support your team. But anyways, that's my Houston. I think they're definitely, I think 7.5 wins is very generous. I think they should be more of the 5.5, just like West Virginia.